Welcome to the Developing Life Podcast. Welcome to episode 25 of the Developing Life Podcast. Leveling the playing field in the venture capital world remains a significant challenge for many women founders seeking equal footing. How can strategic branding empower these innovators and foster a future of equality in industries historically dominated by biased funding opportunities? Today, we are thrilled to host Kung Pik Liu, founder of Design Angel, a branding agency that specializes in the FemTech and women's health and wellness industries. With over 2 decades of design and graphic design experience, Pik has become a vocal advocate for women entrepreneurs. Her innovative fundable brand program is specifically designed to help early-stage female founders become investor-ready, addressing the stark reality that women founders receive only 2% of all venture capital funding. Her work has not only been recognized in prominent publications such as Communication Arts, How Magazine, and Graphic Design USA, but also hailed by a leading European design blog as one of the top 20 iconic graphic designers to learn from. With our host, Heather Crank, we're diving into the intersection of design, entrepreneurship, and gender equality, shedding a light on the transformative power of branding in the competitive world of startups.
Thank you, True. And hello, Pik. It's so nice to see you. I'm thrilled to have you here. I have wanted to have you on this podcast for a while, and we have a ton to talk about. True gave you a lovely intro. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we dig in?
No, that's too lovely almost. I am blushed.
Oh, Pik.
Thank you.
Okay.
True.
So while we're talking about blushing, you and I were speaking right before we went live. We were talking a lot about guilt and finances. And we were talking about how hard it is sometimes to accept a lot of money into our lives. So I'd like to start this podcast off with a theme around money and making money and how we feel about it as entrepreneurs and founders. So I'd like to ask you, when you feel guilt or you're struggling with the idea of money, how do you overcome it, or can you talk about your feelings just a little bit?
Wow, you dive into this. Right away. No waiting. For me, I think I'm a very logical person. So I have the feeling now I know I need to kind of step outside a little bit to kind of understand, okay, I have this feeling, acknowledge it, right?
Mhm.
And then think about why I feel this way and what is the logical way of dealing with it. I think all days me, it just absorb it and think this is the way it is and just let it flow in my mindset, right? In the kind of work I do, right? The behavior. Now I think I'm getting a little smarter. I feel like I do still feel guilt about like having money. Money can be evil, can make me change my personality, change who I am. And I don't want to be like that, right? But on the other hand, I also can see that money can do a lot of goods.
Yes.
If I use it the right way, if I can maintain, right, ground it into something, right? I have good intention. So kind of now I'm like fighting, trying to balance this in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard. I have some of those same struggles, partly from, I think, my upbringing. And I know my husband really struggles with this as well. But I often think about people like you are the right people to have a lot of money because you do so much good with your power, and people will want to support what you do. And I just think it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with and artists struggle with too, is that idea that money is bad, but we need it. So I really appreciate your thoughts on how you overcome it. If you were to give advice to someone who is struggling with this very specific issue right now, can you give me like a sentence or two of how you would recommend they overcome it?
I mean, sure. Actually, like I'm Muslim, right? So in my religious practice, every year we give charity. Like like there's a 2.5% of whatever we own, and then give it out to people that is in need. And early on in my career, I cannot really afford much. Like the money was very little. But recently, I'm very blessed to have more income and I was able to give more. And then I actually, the last couple of years, I really see the effect of my little donation, a little bigger now, and really change people's life. We have friends, family in a third world country that needs help. And sometimes like it's a war-torn country. So they really need it. And I see the power of me able to just spend this money for somebody. And that got me thinking, yes, if I can make more money, right, I could do more. I think sometimes you need to really experience it. And I also kind of feel confident that, oh, it didn't change me. It didn't make me arrogant or feel like I'm better than other people. And actually give me more motivation to make more money so that I can help more of those people. So I guess that experience made me feel more comfortable about money. Yeah. Yeah. I think you also need to experience it yourself. Give something out and see how you feel, right? And be confident that you know who you are. And and that hopefully motivate you to do more and love money, love making money. Right?
That's beautiful. I love that. Be confident in who you are. That's beautiful. Speaking of, you have this fantastic story starting from Hong Kong and going to New York City. Can you talk about that journey and what happened? Like, how did you end up from Hong Kong into New York City?
I know. I actually didn't want to come to the US. No. I love to be comfortable living in my hometown with my parents. Like when I come here, it's like I have to take care of myself, speak a different language. I didn't want to do it. But it was in Hong Kong, the education system is that unless you are like the top 5% of like in the exam, in the official exam, you can't really choose what you want to study. Because university space were very limited. Even you get in university, it was really, people celebrate it. Wow. And the last year of my high school, I realized I wasn't good enough to get into something that I think I want or normal people would want. But obviously, I won't be able to go to medicine or law because those are probably the top 1% of people. But I was just thinking, oh, accounting, economics. I was like, no, I can't get into it. And also, I was like, to be honest, I wasn't really into this. I was good, relatively good in class, but wasn't that passionate about it. And deep inside, I knew I really loved design. It was actually my high school art teacher kind of introduced me to graphic design. And I realized I was good at it. And so it happens, actually. I have a very close family friend. They actually live in New York City. And her daughter studied fashion design, and then her son studied graphic design. And so she told my mom, I love her. She worried about me, my future. They discuss, and then so I even call her aunt. That we're so close that she said, "Well, maybe come over to New York. Study graphic design." And I was resistant actually at the beginning, but then I thought, yeah, this is what I really like to do. So, and my mom actually really pushed me, encouraged me, just go, even just learning English. Speak better English, that is a win. So yeah, that's how I got into New York City. That's it.
Wow. Yep. So where did you study exactly?
FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology.
Wow. Okay, so you're studying fashion, you're in New York City. How do you get from New York City to Southern California? What happens?
I didn't study fashion. I studied graphic design, actually. Graphic design, communication design. Yes. But yes, FIT, famous for fashion. How did I do it? Actually, because of my husband. I met my husband during my school year, and then I became Muslim. And he was in med school, so he graduated med school when I graduated my college from FIT. And we first moved to New Jersey, actually New Brunswick, for residency. And then it didn't work out. And then we moved to DC because, okay, let's find, I guess both of us was trying to discover ourselves. Where's a place for us?
Mm-hmm.
And so we moved to DC, and we lived about 2 years, and then we realized, okay, he find another new fellowship, residency,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then we moved to St. Louis, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then he finally realized medicine is not for him.
Wow.
Yes, it was tough. It was the past few years was tough. He was struggling, trying to get back into medicine, and finally realized this is not for him. And so we're like, okay, if this is not for you, we don't feel like that's the place for us. So let's find a place to get a fresh start. And we thought of Southern California. We always kind of stay in the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try California. And that's it.
Wow.
And that's why. Yep.
Wow. Okay. So you come to Southern California, and I know that you co-founded, I might say this wrong. Is it called Sakina Design?
Yes,
Oh, okay,
yes.
great. And Sakina Design, I'm just going to read this, is a producer and retailer of contemporary Islamic home decorations and gifts. So did you guys start that when you came to Southern California, or was that something that evolved?
That's exactly what happened. Just because we moved to California, have a new start. My husband didn't know exactly what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, he likes to make his own Islamic art at home, because those that we can find in store, it's just very fobby, you can say. It's not our style. but we want to also express our faith, right? That's our faith, part of our life. So he make it himself. And I looking at the artwork, was like, this is good. And I have never seen something like this. And I love design. Or like, oh, this is really nice. We can mass produce it. And so I suggest him, since you don't know what you really want to do you want to try this? And he's like, yeah, why not? And that's how we started. Yeah, it is to kind of figure out what he want to do. And it's also kind of try to express ourselves in a sense, or thinking like maybe other people will resonate with us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you actually say you want to give a facelift to Muslim design, that you kind of want to give it a whole different look and feel.
Yes.
And you want to include a more multicultural audience. And I'm going to quote you here. You say, when I design, I pull all of these influences, Western, Chinese, Islamic, and more. This is a huge, beautiful mosaic, and we know it as humanity. Can you talk about that? About that idea of a mosaic?
I guess this is exactly how I experience when I become Muslim. I'm Chinese, right? And I've never met, I didn't even know that other Chinese Muslim. And then as I meet more people, I realize that there are people from all over the world. My husband actually, his homeland is from Southern Russia, part of Southern Russia.
Oh.
And all kinds of people. And we never hear it. The only thing I know is Arabic, or maybe Pakistan. So either is a South Indian or Arabic world. But there is so much more in between, and people don't know. And people don't know me. Even Muslims see me will get confused. Like, who are you? And so I feel like this is not only an expression for me and my husband, is really to get Muslim and even the world to know that we are more than just Arabic calligraphy or what you see or what you hear on TV. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you're in Southern California, you're working with your husband, and somehow you pivot into women's health. So can you walk me through how this next change in your career happened?
Yes. Well, running business is not easy. We didn't know how to run business. Like we're creating product, marketing ourselves. That was completely new. So on the side, I actually start my own freelancing, and then a few years in, become a small studio. I was working and then hiring freelancer as needed. So it become like a little studio. So slowly, kind of I love design, so I don't want to completely give that up. And also that's give kind of relatively stable income to sustain my passion business, right? Sakina Design. So I was doing two things at a time. And how I pivot, because as I go, as I find more clients and work, I slowly kind of got myself into a niche actually.
Mhm.
And I realized I wasn't intentional to at the beginning. So I just fell into a niche and get the clients that come in to me, like my work. And I thought, knowing that I love design, that's good enough. But actually not, because I realized, okay, I grow at this certain point, I want to market myself. But when you need to go market, you need to do content, do other things. Nope. I had no passion about this, because most of the clients are in economics or finance.
Mm.
And it's boring. I have no interest in this. I cannot talk about this at all.
Mhm.
And so I realized, and the culture too, the kind of clients that I work with is not people that I love working with.
Mhm.
And so deep inside, I knew one day I'll pivot, I'll find something that I love doing and attract the right clients. But small business, clients come, you have job, you're happy, they keep you busy. There's
Yes.
no other time to think about, okay, what to pivot, when to pivot, where to pivot, right? And so always in the back of my mind until pandemic hit.
Mm.
So I was running my studio for 7 years. And within that month that everything shut down in March, right? Half of my projects gone. The clients completely disappeared. And so I was like, okay, no money, can't go anywhere. I have all the time. Yeah, let's figure out what I want to do. So I dedicated that year, 2020, to really figure it out. I kind of knew I need to pivot. So yeah, that's how I do it. And during my research, one thing I discovered crystal. And then by the end of the year, I actually went on a demo day for FemTech startup. I thought it was FinTech. It was a spelling mistake, but it is FemTech. And I love everything that all the startups, whatever they do, it just resonates with me. And I love startup creativity. I love helping women. I love working with women. And I realized 80% of founders are women, and they're helping women. So it's like, I actually also really into health and wellness at that point, because I myself suffering an autoimmune disease called ankylosing spondylitis. So it was tough. It was very tough for me. So everything come together, so like, this is for me. I want to be in. And by, I think, November, I decided to pivot into FemTech.
Wow. Wow, what a story. So, okay, first of all, I'm so sorry about the disease. I had no idea.
Okay.
Second, how I met you was during that time, was during the pandemic, and Clubhouse was a thing, and Christo was on there constantly. And I heard you talking with him on Clubhouse, and I was so impressed. The way you held your own with him when most people were intimidated, the questions you were asking, the clarity. I just thought, I need to know who this person is. And then later, I joined the pro group. I met you, and then we've been in this cohort together for a while. And it's really been a privilege to get to know you, Pik.
Oh, actually, I think the feeling is mutual. I also heard a Clubhouse call that you talk about your experience. And I was very impressed. And I was like, okay, I need to get to know this lady.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you, Pik. Yeah, Clubhouse. It was such a great thing when we were all cooped up like that. It was so beautiful.
Yes.
So I want to talk just a minute about the future. So you said you began to work with Christo. I'd like to hear a little bit more about your involvement with the future, and how did you? I know you met him through Clubhouse, but what drew you to join that?
Actually, not Clubhouse. I discovered Chris and during pandemic. It was actually 2020, July 28th. I remember that was a video that I watched. I was actually kind of really into Gary Vaynerchuk's video.
Oh.
And then somehow they recommend me this guy's video. Say, what is this? So I took a look and I was like, where have I been? So I binge watched his stuff because nobody talk about design and business, right? And he definitely feel in that niche. And I was running my own business, struggling, and he gave us all the wisdom as a designer, as a creative. And so September 2020, I decided to join Pro Group. And then I was actually very shy. I don't want to join group. I don't want to talk to anybody, but it's pandemic. I'm trying to pivot. So I make a promise to myself. I wouldn't be hiding behind the scene. I need to go show up, connect with people. And that's why I'm more active. And when Chris kind of called people, like, anybody want to get the media training? I think that's what he called then. I was like, you know what? I'll do it.
Wow.
Yes, that's how.
That's gutsy. Yeah.
That's gutsy.
Well, okay. So one woman I know heard I was going to interview you, and she asked me to ask you very specific questions. So I'm going to read this to you.
Ooh.
She says, I feel like women in general have to overcome barriers, but when you're a Muslim woman, there's another layer of cultural, societal, and religious expectations. For Muslim women looking to be on the same path as yourself, what are some ways to navigate these expectations in a way that empowers women and creates a space to grow as an individual?
Yeah, there are a lot of barriers. And I think that is also one reason I want to pivot my business, because a lot of my clients are male clients. They definitely, I can definitely feel that there's a barrier. For me, how I combat that is, my husband make fun of me. He said, you never really care about how other people look at you. Like, and I think I just do what I want to do, and I follow the right thing, like follow my truth. I follow my truth. And I guess when I do that, I'm so focused on my own truth, I want to do what I want to do. I just have no time to think about what is the hurdle around me or how people look at me. And I guess that is helpful. I think from my husband inside, that is my strength. Because I just have no time to think about how other people think of me or how will people say about me. Just follow your own truth. Yeah, focus on that. That's my way of dealing with it. Yeah.
Beautiful. So you once said to me, and I thought this was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. You said, even a smile is charity. And I was going through a really difficult time. And it just really spoke to me that even the simplest gesture can have a profound impact on people's lives. Can you speak about this? I don't know what it is, saying that you shared.
It is an Islamic saying. So it's from our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I think that was a longer saying, but a lot of people kind of condense into even a smile is a charity. So I really love it too. I'm so glad that I kind of inspire you and empower you at that moment. I would love to share. What was it? I would love to hear that if we have time. Is that it doesn't matter, like, even you have nothing, the poorest of us, right? We have the power to create impact. And it is true. Actually, I think I didn't really believe it even at the beginning. I love the saying. I love that even the smallest thing can be impactful. But one time, actually, I tell you the story, that one time when my daughter was really still a baby, I was walking in a park, stroking with her and in the stroller. And I saw a man walk by, so I smiled at him. And then, in the park, you walk around, you probably bump into each other again. So the second time I bumped into him, he stopped me. I was scared because I was a Muslim woman. Like, what happened? He said, well, your smile made my day. And then he's thank you. He thanked me and then he walked away. And that at that moment, I was like, oh my God, it is true. I don't know what he had gone through. But just this act of kindness, right? A smile is a kindness, make his day better. So I myself personally see the power, and and I totally see that. And I think there's a scientific study. If you smile, even when you're sad, you're angry, if you make yourself smile, that face, it will actually produce hormone, that like happy hormone that makes you feel better, right? So it's like scientific. It's good for you and good for others. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful too, because there is something about if you're having a hard time, if you take the focus off yourself and you get involved in acts of generosity or charity, it's a great way to help feel better and to elevate your mood. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm suffering, I'm definitely focused on myself.
Yes.
So I just want to thank you so much for that. It really helped me a lot.
I'm so glad.
Okay, so I'd also like to talk about when you're working on your business now and your focus in FemTech, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What's your current focus and where do you want to go?
5 years.
5 years.
I know I have big dreams, but I also worry, what if I can't get there? I think there's three elements, right? In terms of business, I would love to manage a bigger team in 5 years' time. Bigger team, that means really help more women, entrepreneur, more femtech company. Hopefully, I really can create impact, help them get more funding, right? Through branding. That's one part in terms of business. Second part is family. In 5 years, my parents are aging. I would love to spend more time with them. Also, 5 years, oh my God, in 5 years, my daughter will be graduating college, like the last year of her college. I just couldn't wait to see what kind of woman she become. She's a very tough woman. I already see that young lady. She's stronger than me. I can see that. And she already know what she want to do compared to me when I was her age. So I just can't wait to see her grow up, I guess. The last thing is that's family relationship. And then also the last part will be for me. I'm also aging. I'm 45. So that means 5 years I'll turn 50. I really want to spend more time to take care of myself, like health, mental health, right? Physical health. I think when we were young, I was young, I didn't I abused my body, I guess. Now I totally see I'm getting older now. My body can do what I used to do, and I need to take good care of it. I hope I will start doing it and maybe get back even better health than when I was in my 30s. Yeah.
Beautiful. I'd like to talk a little bit about female founders getting funding. Wow, that's a mouthful. I know Cindy Gallup talks a lot about this. It's a very difficult for founders to get funding. Would you talk to your experience with this and any advice that you might give or anything that you personally experienced?
Yeah. I never really asked for funding, right? So I did not experience it. But when I first got into this space, that wasn't my goal to help people, have female entrepreneurs to do that. I didn't think that was a problem. We heard it here and there. I thought those are just extreme story, right? But when I get into FemTech, I talk to people, it's real. I have a lot of female founders. They talk about what happened when they are meeting investor, the kind of things that they would say. And it's just, even they are female investor, you have to be very careful. Versus for men, it wouldn't be a problem. Like a female founder, a woman founder, she was pregnant, and basically her advice is like, don't meet in person, meet in Zoom, right, virtual, and don't let them see your belly. never. Don't mention something like that. And then when she has actually she didn't have a co-founder. Her husband was a COO at that time,
Mhm. Mhm.
but investor would directly just talk to her husband, thinking that he was the founder. and then when another company, when the female founder hire a COO
Mhm.
to help her operate the company,
Mhm.
which was actually, it was her husband's position, but then her husband retired from that. And when that COO talked to me, she said she went to pitch, see investor. Investor will question her that she has no scientific background. How can you be in this position?
Mhm.
And then the founder was a woman, right?
Mhm.
She said, "Don't worry about what they said. When my husband was in your position, no, he had no scientifics. He has no science background. Nobody questioned him. But when you are in it, they question you left and right. It's not you, it's them." So I hear a lot of those things, and I'm like, oh my God, this is real, and it's very common. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, what was the question? So that was
Oh.
I want to share.
No,
The experience
that's
is real.
beautiful. So I was just saying, if some female founder is
Yes.
listening to this podcast right now, any words of encouragement or advice? I mean, you just gave a great suggestion of it's not you, it's
You.
them, which is great. But
Yeah.
any other tips that you would
Well,
give somebody to keep going and to keep knocking on those doors, even when you're up against a lot of obstacles?
Well, one thing is find other women founders and get together as a support group to talk about the experience. That actually, I think that really helped supporting each other and knowing that this is normal. They have to work harder, right? To get to where they want to be, much harder actually. But I think as I teach people how to brand, and I have done personal branding myself. I actually see that branding is changing perception, and it's why female entrepreneur or female founder is hard to get funding. A lot of it is gender bias, right? It's perception problem. So I see that if you can leverage branding and change perception, right, your perception to other people's perception of you, it's a secret weapon. So for me, it's really think about how to build your personal brand, how to even build your business brand that can stand out and change perception. And I've seen actually there are female entrepreneurs have done that. And I have done it myself with no connection in this FemTech space, no specific portfolio. I can build up authority pretty quickly. So yeah, that will be my advice. Yep.
So can you, for people who don't understand what gender bias is, can you just give a really quick definition?
Yes, there was a Harvard Business School did a survey, and they discovered that if you are a male founder pitching to investors, usually investor will ask very positive question like, how do you grow? How do you expand this business? And what will happen when something good happens? And it's very positive, the question. But when it comes to a female founders pitching, their question change. It doesn't matter is female investor or male investor. They will ask, what happened? Ask about like how to eliminate risk. What happened in this thing happen? How about you? Actually, I've heard is that, well, you're a woman, you're in the age of having children. What happened if you want to have children? How can you run the company? So you can kind of see the outlook is very different. For men, they look very positive. But for women, they automatically look for something negative. Bad things is going to happen if a woman run their business. Yeah. So that's what happened. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, they're not supposed to ask those questions.
Well, for them, it's like, I'm concerning how you're going to protect this business, right? Is I cannot blame them. I think this is also very cultural, right? It is a societal problem, actually. And it's, as I said, it's a perception. It's the idea in the society that women in general is not as good running a business, right? That's the perception. And even your female investor, it's just ingrained in you. Unless you're consciously thinking about this problem, this kind of question will just come out.
Wow.
Yeah. Is not, they are not consciously doubting. It's subconscious, this kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of cultural examples. You have women who are stereotypical cooks, but once they become a chef, then it's a male role because it's a position of authority and increased money. And there are a lot of examples like that. And yeah, gender bias is a real thing.
Is a real thing. Yeah.
It's
and
a real
if
thing.
we even I feel like even if I pay attention to it, I fall into the trap too. Right?
Really? How do you fall into the trap?
Just like my daughter, even thinking about my daughter and my son, right? Two people. I know she's a very, very strong woman, but when she was little, I will think about, how she a wife, become a mother, what kind of mother she would be, versus my son. I definitely see my son, I'll let him be a little more spoiled, let him be more daring, doing other things, right? I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm doing. But at that moment, you're not consciously thinking about it. It's all subconscious, this kind of thing. It's horrible,
Yeah, that's subconscious. It's tricky.
Yep, I would let my son get away with a lot more naughty stuff. Versus, I feel like I'm more strict with my daughter. It's sad. I was like, oh my God, this is cultural. This is very cultural. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. It is. It's really cultural. Yeah. Okay, so you're involved with branding right now, and you call yourself a design angel. Can you talk about what you do in your business just a little bit, and where people can find you if they'd like to work with you?
Yes. Design angel. Okay. I have kind of two part of business now. One part is what I traditionally do is one-on-one helping clients, a lot of health tech clients, some FemTech clients actually come in, they want to rebrand themselves. Or from there, after rebranding, there's a lot of even building a design team, right? When they don't have an in-house design team, we kind of come in to help them, making sure things are on brand, creating marketing creatives. That kind of my main thing, I guess, on one-on-one surfaces. But then since I came into FemTech, I met so many female entrepreneur, female founders. A lot of them is in early stage of the business cycle, business journey. And I realized they cannot afford my regular services. It's expensive. So I realized, oh my God, this is a need. This is a problem. I have to change what I do so that I can serve them better. So now I am developing a membership site so that they can actually build their own personal brand and business brand in a membership environment. Yes. So kind of like a digital course, education, platform. Yep. So the two part.
And is that on your Design Angel website? How would they find that if they're interested?
I am still building it this year. I had some beta clients testing things. I'm building a launch now, but if you're really interested, follow me on LinkedIn. This year I have been really quiet. I guess I'm very focused on figuring that out. So I haven't been very active providing content, but very soon I'll come back. I'm struggling myself too, but I'll come back soon. But sign up to email list, or follow me, or even DM me. I'm more than happy to keep you on my wait list. When things happening, you'll know.
Okay. So we are almost at 45 minutes. If anybody in the audience has any questions, you can drop it in the chat. And in just a couple of minutes, I'll open it up and you can turn on your cameras. But I have one more question for Pik in the meantime. So Pik, I would love to know what you're currently reading. And if you could give me your top favorite books or articles, I would love that.
Okay. I'm currently reading maybe a little more boring book called Tilt. It is about business and branding. It's about how nowadays business should change from product focus to customer focus. Basically, it's like instead of building more features, building more product, you should focus on building the brand, serving customer better. So it's an interesting book, a little boring to read, but for me, it's interesting. So that's what I'm reading. My favorite book is for any entrepreneur. I think even anybody is good. Is The One Thing. I think it tells you like be focused. You need to have big goal, right? And always focus on one thing that really move the needle, right? And say no to the rest. Also, one thing in the book really kind of got me thinking is that the bigger your goal is, right, the more chaos in your life. And it is, you have to expect that. And that's, I feel like nobody have told me until I read that book. And it's true because the bigger the goal, basically, I have more responsibility, more stuff to do. I feel like I couldn't keep the balance. And I'm running around and overwhelmed. But I think it's so important to set the expectation. So we have more chaos. I was like, yeah, that's right. And I have to expect that. Yeah. So that was a key takeaway from this book. And I love this book.
Ooh. Oh my God, that hits home.
Yes.
It really, really
Hello,
does.
chaos, huh?
Hello, chaos. Yes.
That means you're doing something big, right?
Right. One other thing I want to bring up too is that in the journey, it seems like in the beginning, you start with saying yes to everything. And then there's a phase where you start saying no.
Yes.
Have you experienced this?
Yes. I think this year, I definitely say a lot of no. I think that is a journey, right? First, you need to explore, right? Try different things and see what's your tolerance, what your interests, what really attracts you. But now you kind of, because you say yes to so many things, you know yourself better, right? Now you can say no. I think that is a process. You cannot I know sometimes you hear advice that you have to say no to everything. Or some people say you have to say yes to everything. And I think for me is say yes first, give you a period to say yes. Okay, now you're testing out. Now you can start to say no. So that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Good.
All right. So if you have any questions for Pik, we are just about at 45 minutes. Please drop them in the chat. And you're also welcome to turn on your camera if you'd like to speak to Pik directly. Pik, you mentioned a book, Tilt. Who is that by? Do you know?
Let me see. Yes. I have my note.
Thank you.
Is by... All right. Niraj Dawa. So I can copy. Yes, I can copy this book name.
Thank you.
And yes, I'll put it in the chat. Would that be good?
Yes, please. I would love that.
So Tilt, shifting your strategy from products to customer. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so Devon has a question for you. He would like to know, what do you think is the most important question someone should ask before launching a FemTech brand to ensure the mission is one of integrity and truly focused on helping people?
Well, why do you start this? I think it's ask yourself, have a clear idea of your origin story. First, it's the most powerful. People want to know why you do this, because it's very interesting. I have met male founder in FemTech. One thing they worry is like, oh my God, I'm a dude. People will say, why are you here? People automatically think that I'm here for money, So it's true. But if you can answer this question, origin story, right? Why do you start? If you align that with what you do, and then you can very easily create your mission and just make sure you stay aligned. I think that also how I run my business before I didn't have a purpose. I just want to make money, do good design, and it didn't work out. I can make money, but I wasn't happy, right? Now I find my purpose, knowing what I want to do. And sometimes it's not just for money, right? Just making money is not enough. And you need to make sure of that. And most of the time is serving other people actually give you bigger purpose. It's very interesting, right? It's not, we cannot be fulfilled just by serving ourselves. Very often it's serving other people. And once you find that, I think it always gives you energy, always give you the drive to do things, even when it's difficult. Yeah. And also that attract people because people can see that you mean it. And for me too, like my employees, actually, one of my designers, she said, I look at your LinkedIn profile and I love what you do. That's why I apply. Otherwise, she wouldn't even apply for my position because I'm a small studio. She's a very good designer. So people do care about that. You attract the kind of people that kind of work well with you too. So yeah, origin story, mission, and purpose. Yes.
So if somebody doesn't know what an origin story is, can you just give me the cliff notes of what that is?
Yes, origin story. Just ask yourself, why did you start this business? Usually there's a trigger, right? For me, why do I pivot to FemTech? My origin story is that I wasn't happy with what I was doing, right? And my health suffering, and what else? And I was what was it? And I knew there's something more I can give, right? And so that's when I did my research, right? And find out that this is the place I want to be. And so that's my origin story, right? We just talked about earlier. And always then when things are lost, like the opportunities come up, there's always shiny object around you, right? And then when those opportunity comes, I was like, why am I here? I'll remember the story why I start, or a short sentence like why I start this, and I remember, okay, yes, does it align with my why? Not quite. So okay, that means I will say no now. Right? Yeah, I think it helped me with a lot of business decision, even hiring people too. Or even working with people, working with clients, I am much more selective now too. Yeah. It gave me a lot of clarity in business. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It really, really gives you a lot of clarity when you know who you are and you know what you want to do, and you know what makes you feel a deep sense of purpose. I love that. Serena has a question for you. She says, Pick, in your experience, what is the biggest branding mistake that you see with startups in the femtech space? Ooh, spicy, Serena.
I know. Serena. The biggest branding mistake is that they think having a logo, having a color palette and some kind of fonts is branding. I very often I'll tell them, I'd rather you don't have a logo, but think about your brand strategy. Just like what I said, the most important thing, why do you get started, right? Your origin story, right? Your purpose. What is your mission here? People don't know. People will automatically think it's for money. You want to make money here, right? But so you need to kind of explain to people beyond that, right? So I think that's the biggest mistake. Thinking logo is enough. It's branding.
Right. Yes. That's beautiful. Okay. Let me just look one more time. Okay. Hi, Raquel. Raquel's saying she'd like to start as a direct response copywriter, hopefully in the field of agribusiness. Raquel, while you're here, how can we help you today? Do you have a question for Pick? Let's give her just a minute. And Pick, lastly, once you launch your new company and you begin to create sort of a mailing list and networking opportunity for people, beyond that, are you going to do any kind of live event speaking, or are you just going to stay mainly behind the desk?
I guess eventually I would do that, but I'm extreme introvert. If I can avoid physical contact, I will avoid. I'm so bad at this. But I knew, like when that's the difference between I just want to make money or I want to make impact. So I think at this point, I don't really need to have in-person event, right? This kind of thing to create my impact because I'm still very small. I'm starting out. But one day, yes, I will be very open to that, even if it's uncomfortable for me.
Okay.
One
Noted.
day.
Noted.
Yeah.
Are you taking apprentices at the moment?
Apprentice.
Mhm.
Always looking for talent. Actually, I'm always looking for talent. So we can talk, DM me, and yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, I think that is an excellent place to stop. I
Yeah.
want to thank you so much, Pick, for your time, your energy, your beautiful spirit, and for joining us on this podcast. It has been wonderful.
Same here. Well, do we still have some time left?
Yeah, we do.
I would love to ask you,
no.
how does that quote you said, right? Even as long as a charity affect you? I really want to hear what happened if you could. Of course, I don't want to dig too deep, but I would really love to hear that more.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. I have tough questions too.
Yeah. Oh, of course you do, Pick. So I was in a really very difficult, vulnerable place and was feeling really powerless to make any kind of change. And I was experiencing a lot of personal obstacles that I just couldn't seem to overcome. And I'd kind of burnt myself out from trying to get things to move forward. And I realized I had to move into a place of acceptance, but I was fighting doing that because I didn't want to land where I knew I was going to land, but I was going to have that experience regardless.
Yep.
So, the idea of having power in very simple gestures and this in the very simplest parts of life that you can find places to make choices even if you feel powerless. It just really kind of changed my thinking around, and it drew me back into sort of this very introspective place instead of this, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God. It took me out of the panic, and it just was really helpful. So thank you for that.
I am so glad. I am so glad. I'm so glad to hear that. Like that's make my day. That make my day. It is true. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing those.
The simplicity of power.
Yeah.
It's not the grand gestures. It's not the big things. It's not, the title or whatever. It's really just even breathing, as Serena has taught me, is a very simple act of personal power. So
yeah, definitely.
Very grateful.
Wonderful. So good.
Thank you so much, Pick. Do we have any last questions before I let her go? We have one more from Devron. He's thanking you, and he says he really wants to thank you, especially on the perspective of changing our perception of money and focusing on how much stability can bring us and how much good it will allow us to do.
Yes, it is true. It is a good reminder for me too. Sometimes I forget, but yeah. Remember that. Yeah. And also trust that you're a good person inside. Like, I think, especially when you're a good person, you worry so much that your money can change you. I think that is, that hurt us more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just be confident that you are you. If you worry about money will change you, you probably won't. Right? Those people that money can change them, those people would never thought about this, have that thought in mind. I kind of, now I see more people, and I think, be confident about who you are. Yeah. And make more money and do more good.
I love that. Yes. Thank you so much, Pick. It has been a joy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Developing Life podcast. I so appreciate all of you, and have a wonderful week.
Hey everyone, Devron Bowman, founder of The Developing Life here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes with thought leaders, designers, and change makers. If you'd like to dive deeper into today's topics, or you have thoughts that you'd love to share, feel free to join the conversation with us on social media by following The Developing Life's channels on LinkedIn or any of our team members. We would love to hear your takeaways and keep the dialogue going. If you know someone who'd find value in these conversations, please share the podcast with them. It's one of the best ways to help us grow this community of creative minds. Lastly, reviews make a huge difference. So, if you have a moment, leave us a quick rating or a few words on your favorite podcast platform. Not only will it mean the world to us, but it will also help more people discover the show. Thanks again for being part of the Developing Life. Together, we're building a community where creativity thrives and connection grows. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep developing.